if you're new here, my name's Lottie. Today we're discussing one of my favorite topics, which is Kindles. I've been wanting to make a video for a little while now talking just all about my Kindle, things I like about it, why I use it, if I think it's worth it, and so that's what we're gonna be discussing today. Okay, so let's start with the pros for the Kindle. My first pro is that it's lightweight. This thing, I don't know how much it technically weighs, but it is extremely lightweight and just easy to carry around. You can throw it in your bag, just small, compact, easy to bring with you anywhere. I think going off of the lightweight thing, it's very easy to travel with. So when I'm going on vacation for a week, it's really nice to just bring my Kindle with me and go ahead and download some books that I might be interested in reading before the trip. And then that way, when I'm on the trip, I don't even need to worry about connecting to Wi-Fi when I get there, when I already have books downloaded. And I also don't have to anticipate the amount of books I'm going to be reading. It's so nice to just have a library of books at your fingertips. You can choose to read them or not, but you don't have to worry about packing the right amount of books. You also can connect your Kindle to Wi-Fi once you get to like your hotel or something if you need to download more books. So it's not like you can't, but it is kind of part of my trip prep sometimes to go ahead and download a bunch of books to my Kindle that I might be interested in, so I don't really have to worry about that while I'm on the trip. The next pro that I have is reading at night. The Kindles actually use e-ink screen technology, and these screens were created to mimic the experience of using paper as closely as possible. The lights are actually situated in the front of the screen and go backwards. But what we have with our phones and our iPads, things like that, is that the light is in the back and it goes forward. So it creates this kind of anti-glare and mattifying effect, but it also has this kind of like backlight. So you can turn up the brightness. Basically, if we were in a dark room right now, I'd be able to read my book in the dark. There's also a warmth setting, so I'm gonna turn it warmer. I don't know if you're really gonna be able to tell on the screen, but this is warmer, this is cooler. So I usually turn the warmth like all the way up when I'm reading before bed to help filter out any blue light and help my eyes and my body get ready for sleep. I have the brightness on auto brightness, so the current Kindle models are able to just kind of sense the brightness in the room and adjust accordingly. The warmth meter I have on a schedule, so starting at 8 p.m. the warmth goes up a ton, and then at 8 a.m. it goes back down. I hardly ever have to like adjust the settings, but they are there. The ability to read at night with the lights off in your bedroom is just so nice. It's also really nice if you sleep in the same room as your partner, and if they want to go to sleep before you or vice versa. I don't have to ask to leave the lights on while I'm reading my book, or I don't have to have a bright kind of book light on my book that may be more distracting. I'm able to just kind of turn my brightness down on my Kindle, turn to the side, and it's really not distracting. So it's also really nice for that reason. The next one kind of goes along with reading at night, and that's reading laying down. So I love to get cozy in bed and read, or even just lay on the couch like sideways. There's just nothing like laying on your side with your Kindle just perfectly attuned to how your body is laying. Because a Kindle is just showing you one page at a time as opposed to a book that's gonna be showing you 2 pages at a time, you don't have to do any awkward like folding or like tilting of the book, tilting of your head. You're just able to kind of curl up, be at any angle, and it's just so comfortable. So you're able to stay focused, and for me, I'm just able to read more that way. One of the reasons I feel like I'm able to stay focused is because I have enabled a setting on my Kindle where I can see the time at the top of the Kindle. So I'm not constantly checking my phone. I find myself reading a lot where maybe I have 5 or 10 minutes if I'm ready a few minutes early, but I need to leave the house at a certain time. So it's nice that I'm able to just kind of monitor the time while I'm reading, and it definitely helps prevent me from picking up my phone. I think another reason I'm able to stay focused is that you can see how many minutes are left in the chapter at the bottom. I find myself when I'm reading physical books kind of flipping through the chapter, trying to see how many pages I have left, anticipating how long that might take me. I find that that kind of slows me down. I'm like, oh, it's like 10 pages. Whereas with the Kindle, I'm like, oh, 15 minutes, like I have 15 minutes. And thinking about a book in terms of like the amount of time it's gonna take you to read it rather than the amount of pages just really resonates for me. It's just nice that it already kind of tracks your reading speed and is able to tell you about how long it should take you to read the next chapter. Another reason I feel like I read faster and longer with my Kindle is because I can't switch apps. So if I'm reading on my iPhone or on my iPad, then it's so easy to get distracted when I get a little push notification at the top. And I know you can set your iPhone or your iPad to do not disturb mode, so that definitely is a good option if you want to read on one of those devices. But I still just find myself tempted to switch between apps when my attention span is a little bit stretched thin. So I think that's a huge bonus for the Kindle for me. I will say I love having the Kindle app on my iPhone. On this app, I'm able to track the amount of days in a row that I've read, and then they do like quarterly like reading sprint type things where you get badges for reading like a perfect week. They do kind of like special holiday badges for like reading on a certain holiday, just all different kinds of things like that, which are really fun if you like like kind of like a streak. I find that it's kind of motivating for me. It's fun to keep my Kindle streak alive. Another thing I like about having the Kindle app on my phone is that if I forget to bring my Kindle with me, let's say to the pharmacy, I'm going to pick up some prescriptions and I have to wait in like a 10 or 15 minute line, I can just pull out my phone and open my Kindle app and just start reading my book. And my Kindle app on my phone will sync with my Kindle to take me to my last read page. So I'm able to just pick up right where I left off on my phone while I'm out and about, and I always have my phone with me, so it's just nice to have that option. Then when I get back home and I get back on the Wi-Fi, my Kindle will sync up with my phone and it will jump me to the page that I left off on my phone, which is really nice. Another reason I feel like I'm able to stay focused and read more with the Kindle is because of the dictionary features. Basically, you can just highlight over any word and it'll give you the dictionary definition of that word. I don't have to like pick up my phone and Google the word. I definitely do that a lot when I'm reading physical books, so I think it's just nice to have all of that in one, where I'm able to stay focused, get the information I need right away, and continue on with my reading. Another thing about the kind of anti-glare screen effect of the Kindle is that it makes it really easy to read outside. I've found that it can be really hard to read my phone or my iPad when I'm outside and the sun is blaring down, but that is not a problem with the Kindle. It's also a really good option if you're someone who lives in like a small studio apartment or just a small space in general and you don't have room to store a big book collection. Another awesome thing about Kindle is that you can read ebooks from the library. So I use the Libby app for this. Basically, you just get a library card, connect your library card to your Libby account, and you can put holds on ebooks. I really love this feature. I love utilizing my library card. I love putting holds on Libby and kind of tracking them. It's so nice because you don't even have to leave your house or your apartment to be able to do that. Another pro about the new Kindle models is that they are waterproof. You could read while you're taking a bath, or you could kind of read in the pool and not be too worried about dropping your Kindle in and ruining it. I haven't really tested the feature of it being waterproof, but it is nice to have the peace of mind that it should be okay. Another pro about the Kindle is that it is much less intimidating to read long books on the Kindle. Like, I cannot emphasize this one enough. I read the ACOTAR series on my Kindle and then loved it so much that I wanted to add it to my library, but I would have been terrified to read like A Court of Wings and Ruin or A Court of Silver Flames, which are like 600, 700 page books. It can really help you get outside your reading comfort zone in that sense, because I definitely would have been really hesitant to pick up a longer physical book, whereas I'm much more intrigued about reading it on my Kindle. As you can tell, I could probably just go on and on and on about my Kindle and why I love it, but I do have one last pro I want to share with you today, and that's a special feature on the Kindle called X-Ray. And basically what this allows you to do is see a full list of people, terms, and images that are used throughout the book. I find it's the most helpful for people. Sometimes I'm reading, especially like a longer fantasy book or just a book with a lot of characters, you know, I might get 20% of the book and be like, wait, who is that? I know they were introduced in like chapter 1, but they've been gone for a while and now they're back. And basically you can just kind of highlight the name and it'll pull up this like X-ray feature where it'll read you some other paragraphs that you've already read with that person's name. So you can kind of go back and get the context for who that person was. I absolutely love this feature. It is so helpful, especially when you have a book with a lot of character names. Okay, now that we've been through all the pros, I will go through a few of the cons that I thought of. There really aren't many, but I will address a few. The first con I could think of is just that you're constantly supporting Amazon with these ebook purchases for your Kindle. I think it's one thing to buy a Kindle itself, but then it kind of locks you into having to buy the Amazon Kindle books to deliver to your Kindle, so you're just kind of always shopping for books through Amazon. I really try to diversify like where I buy my books from, and so this just makes it harder to do that. Yes, you can download library ebooks to your Kindle, but for me, I'm only able to do that maybe like once a month or so, just because you can only have 15 holds on books at a time, and usually it takes weeks, if not months, for those holds to kind of come in. But with the pace that I read, that's just not enough to keep me from wanting to purchase an Amazon ebook every now and then too. So I think that's one of the kind of cons of using a Kindle, is just giving Amazon kind of the monopoly on books, which isn't ideal. I don't think you should like not get a Kindle for this reason, but it is something I try to be mindful of. The next con is probably the most obvious, and that's just like it's not a physical book. You can't feel it and you can't smell that good book smell like you can with a good old-fashioned paperback or hardcover paper printed book. I think this is the deal breaker for a lot of people. They just don't want to give up that paper feel, the smell of a book, the feel of it in their hands, and I definitely understand that. I will always love the feeling of reading an actual book, but the Kindle is just so convenient. I will say another con that I've thought of that I haven't heard many people mention in Kindle videos is that it is harder to like flip back to a page to reference something. I find myself when I'm reading physical books often like, oh wait, what chapter was this? And I just kind of go back and I'm like, oh. And then especially too, when they're in the front of the book is like a family tree or a map of some kind, it's so much easier to flip back to that when you're reading a paper book. So I will give paper books points on that. Another con about Kindles is that they are black and white, so there's no color. There usually isn't color on like pages when you're reading anyway, so it's really just like the cover of the book on the lock screen. I don't really mind that, and I feel like the battery life would be worse if they were able to do color. I have no idea. I'm not an engineer, but I would kind of guess that maybe that's the case. So I would take a longer battery life over having a colored Kindle like any day. Building off of that, another con is that you have to keep it charged. Obviously, you don't have to charge a physical book. I will say with Kindles, the battery life is pretty good and it charges really fast. Like, it's not like it takes like overnight to charge or anything like that. And then another kind of like technical con for Kindle books is it's just harder to annotate. So if you're someone who loves like writing notes in the margins and highlighting and all those things, it's just a little bit harder to do on the Kindle. You still can highlight with the Kindle and make like notes on the passages that you highlighted, but it's just not as like tactile, you know, as it is with annotating in an actual book. So you can still do it, it's just kind of not the same experience. Okay, now that we've gone through all my pros and cons, I wanted to show you the two Kindles that I have and kind of explain why I have two Kindles and the differences between them. This Kindle is the Kindle Paperwhite 11th generation. This was my first Kindle. I purchased it, I want to say in like February of 2022. I can link down below this exact Kindle, the case and the pop socket if any of you guys are interested in having a similar setup to this one. But this was my very first Kindle and I had this one for a little bit over 2 years. And then around March of this year, I started using this Kindle Oasis, and this actually was my mom's. When I got my first Kindle back in 2022, I became quite the Kindle influencer, encouraging so many people to get them because I loved mine so much. So my mom bought a Kindle Oasis in like the summer of 2022 during Prime Day. So this is the Kindle that she bought the same year that I bought my Paperwhite. And the reason I have this one is because when I went home for Easter in March, I was like, how are you liking your Kindle? Honestly, my mom just ends up reading on her iPad for the most part. She just never was able to make the habit switch to using the Kindle. So she let me trade her because she still wanted to have a Kindle. So I gave her my Paperwhite and she let me have her Oasis because I just wanted to try out the Oasis for a few months and see how I thought it compared to the Paperwhite. So I've been using the Oasis since about March, seeing how I like it, forming my opinions. And my mom also gave me the Paperwhite back for this video so I could show you guys both. I will say that Amazon has discontinued the Kindle Oasis, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I know you can still get the Oasis refurbished some places, and just in case they come out with a new Oasis, I do want to quickly address kind of the differences because I'm sure you'll still see a lot of people using these in the years to come because they sold them for several years and Kindles last a long time. There are a few key differences between the Paperwhite and the Oasis. The first one is the charging port. The Paperwhite uses USB-C, which is really nice because that's the same charge port as my phone and my iPad. So I do really miss that about using the Paperwhite, and I think that that's a point for the Paperwhite. My Oasis uses micro USB, I'm pretty sure it's what it's called. The other main difference is kind of just like the design of the Kindles. The Oasis does have page turn buttons, so that's what these buttons on the side of the Kindle are. And the Oasis itself is kind of structured with this sidebar that is on the same side as the buttons, so you can kind of hold the Oasis like this and then use your thumb to turn the buttons. But you still can use your finger just to swipe or tap and turn the pages, so you don't have to use the buttons. The Paperwhite just has a more straightforward design. It's just flat on the back, flat on the front, no page turn buttons. So when you have a book open, you can either kind of do a little swipe or a tap to turn the page, and same for backwards. A lot of people add pop sockets to the back to kind of be able to hold it more comfortably while you're reading, but I feel like the pop socket definitely really helps and provides for a much more comfortable reading experience. So those are the basic differences between the Paperwhite and the Oasis. Honestly, what I've found is that I kind of miss my Paperwhite, I might go back to it. I honestly find that the reading experience with the pop socket is much more comfortable than this design that they built with the page turn buttons. I think part of the reason I continue to use the Oasis is that I am very type A, and my partner actually has a Kindle Oasis as well. And so I really like the look of like our matching Kindles on our bedside tables, which I know is so silly and like not a big deal at all. I have to say I do really love kind of like the rose gold kind of aluminum or titanium kind of look to it. But when it comes to the actual reading experience, I think I slightly prefer the Paperwhite. So I wouldn't stress about needing to upgrade to the Oasis if they do come back out with a new one. I feel like the Paperwhite is excellent, and honestly, I don't feel like I noticed a big difference with the reading experience. So I don't necessarily think that it's worth upgrading to the Oasis. I think the other thing that I would be remiss not to talk about in this video is Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is basically a service that Amazon/Kindle offers that allows you to read as many books as you want, really. I looked it up and I think they have like 4 million plus titles included in Kindle Unlimited. It's not every book though, I will say that. Definitely not every book. Kindle Unlimited is available for $12 a month. So I feel like that's basically the cost of like one Kindle book or one paperback. So if you even just read one book through Kindle Unlimited a month, it's already kind of paying for itself. There's a little like Kindle Unlimited like bar that they put on the, I think at the top or the bottom of like the book cover when you search a book on Amazon. You can also browse in the Kindle app on your phone, specifically like Kindle Unlimited book recommendations for you. But if you come across a Kindle Unlimited book, it'll just say read for free on Amazon if you're a subscriber. And then you just click that and it'll send the book to your Kindle. A few books that are on Kindle Unlimited. First of all of the Harry Potter books are on there. So if you're interested in reading those, it's so much more affordable than buying the entire set. I will say the library of books included in Kindle Unlimited does shift and change. So things will get added, things will get taken off. It's kind of like Netflix in that way. I will say if you use Kindle Unlimited, sometimes you want to strike while the iron is hot. If you feel like there's like a hot book on Kindle Unlimited, you might want to go ahead and read it. But there are a few that I feel like are kind of always on there, like Harry Potter. The Hunger Games books aren't on there right now, but they were on there when I first got the subscription. That's why I actually ended up getting it last year. I wanted to reread the Hunger Games books and I was like, well, I'll just get Kindle Unlimited since they're on here, and then I never looked back. Some authors on Kindle Unlimited that you may be interested in or want to check out are Abby Jimenez. She has several books on Kindle Unlimited currently. Frida McFadden has most, if not all, of her books on Kindle Unlimited, which is awesome. Catherine Center has a few books on Kindle Unlimited. Oftentimes authors won't have their brand new releases on there, but after like a year or two they'll get added, which is really nice. If you guys want to see a video all about my Kindle Unlimited recommendations plus my current Kindle Unlimited TBR, let me know because I would love to do a separate video on that if you guys are interested. I know that it's always changing, so I didn't want to necessarily do a whole segment on that in this video just because I want to make sure this video is a little bit more evergreen. I also was thinking about doing a separate video all about my Kindle essentials and my accessories that I love, so if you want to see a separate video on that, just comment down below and I'll definitely do that. I hope you all learned something new from this video or just better understand why I love my Kindle so much. I definitely think it's a worthwhile investment if you're a big reader. I will leave a link for the current model of the Kindle in the description below if you want to check it out on Amazon. If you have any questions for me about my Kindle, definitely leave a comment down below. I'm happy to respond. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to my channel down below so you don't miss a video from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!